following years. And honestly, it is an absolute honor to have them grace our stage and put a face to the name. I know you've definitely heard him. You may not have seen him, but you've definitely heard him. Cian Crosse, no longer a shadow in the background and a well-known talker. Originally from Bahrain, am I saying that right? Bahrain. He founded 9 Dots and he's made it into what it is today. And of course, he is spinning all the plates between building and growing 9 Dots, both in Ireland and Bahrain, and building Knee, their software company. Anyone who's ever come across Cian, whether professional or social setting, has nothing but nice things to say about him, from his authenticity, his amazing energy. He's very hard not to like. A guy who knows his stuff, but make no mistake that he knows how to let loose and be the life of the party. Guys, please help me in giving a huge and warm welcome to Cian Crosse.
Good to go. Hello. So before I start, can I get a show of hands in here who, for better or for worse, is still living in spreadsheets? Only 2 or 3 years. So essentially my talk is about how we transitioned from spreadsheets to SaaS. And Sean, I'm really hoping that SaaS isn't dead. So most businesses, I'm talking 80% of them, are still living in Excel. And nearly half of them, nearly half the execs admit that there's basically no control around it. Welcome to my world in recruitment. So a quick stat for you. According to McKinsey, internal staff spend an average of over 9 hours per week searching for gathering information and emails or the latest version of a file. That's effectively a whole day, work day gone just looking for stuff. That was essentially my world, exactly. Every month sitting in spreadsheets, sitting around and losing my will to live, responding to what should be simple questions and waiting for either side to come back to me. Today, let me talk to you and take you through from chaos to calm and why that matters more than code, and essentially why we actually built Knee. As some of you might know, I run 9 Dots based here in Dublin and in Bahrain. And for those who don't know us, shame. Jokes aside, over the last few years, we've been doing a lot of contracting and staff augmentation that's basically become a major part of what we do in the Middle East and North Africa, the MENA region. And trust me when I say it's absolutely chaotic. I think my team knows that I run at 1,000,000 miles a minute, and living in spreadsheets isn't a cross I like to bear. In fact, I fucking hate it. Every company has a different way of doing things, and most of them seem to live in spreadsheets. So we started working with a purely digital bank in Bahrain around 3 to 4 years ago, and when I first set up there. They didn't want us for our bread and butter stuff, which obviously is recruitment. They wanted us to build an outsourced team of everything from PMs to mobile engineers for their core mobile or for their core offering, which we've done and we continue to do so. Finding people is the easy bit, to be honest. In order to get paid, there are 1,000,001 hurdles. As I said, when I first started, I thought, hey, this should be pretty easy. I'm a Bahrain boy, I've done it in Ireland, how much harder can it be? I was very wrong. I think using spreadsheets is grand. I know everyone uses them, it serves a purpose, but for us, and I think for a lot of people, it's absolutely not scalable. We were running dozens of contractors, multiple clients, my team juggling their own deals, and the glue that was holding it all together was, of course, spreadsheets and emails. Time wasted. It usually takes around 20 to 30 minutes per contractor going through emails, waiting for timesheets to be approved, and etc. So multiply that by 10 to 15 contractors, you're talking the guts of a day or two. There's human error. It's happened to me twice. once and almost twice. I've ended up paying a contractor twice and had to call the bank straight away to see if they could cancel one of those transactions. The joys of it all. And then there are the trust issues. Contractors and hiring managers disputing hours, consultants disputed margins, transparency just really isn't there. We're waiting for the hiring managers to come back, and the contractors are waiting for us, and we're waiting for everybody. It's essentially a cycle of doom. All of this has led to even more stressful Mondays, where I felt like I was constantly firefighting. I knew there was more and more work coming down the pipe, and we were planning on growing and being the only person, so to speak, on the ground in Bahrain. It was basically left to me, and it wasn't just messy, it was unscalable. And when the mistakes started costing thousands, I realized we weren't running a system, we were the system. And we were full of bugs. But the day it really hit me wasn't just another messy end of the month. It was when I paid a contractor $10,000 twice. I know I mentioned this earlier. I remember staring at the screen, that sinking feeling in my stomach, straight on the phone, "Mas salama, goodbye, 10 grand. And of course, I was like, please, just will you cancel one of those transactions? And the banking system in Bahrain, to put it lightly, is archaic at the best of times. So I actually had no guarantee of this actually being resolved. It was, thankfully. But that was basically the moment when I realized this wasn't just messy anymore. It was risky, costly, and pretty embarrassing. That was the point as well that I knew we couldn't keep sticking spreadsheets together. We needed a system that wouldn't break every month. So we stopped being the system and built one instead. Because building software is fun, they said. We started small, fixing timesheets and approvals. No more chasing managers across endless email threads. No more final v3.xls. Just a clean workflow. Submit, approve, and done. Then we added profit dashboards, so instead of 40 minutes per contractor, margins were instant. And instead of living in 5 conflicting different timesheets, or spreadsheets rather, we had one single source of truth. I've used so many systems over the years that are pretty stress-inducing, and I'm sure you probably know them and have as well. Support in a lot of them is basically non-existent. So imagine if Ryanair and Ticketmaster had a support baby. That would be the horror show that we'd be living with on the daily. I think shit should be simple and easy to use. We haven't built Knee to replace those systems. It plays well with other big players like Workday, and they don't actually offer this solution, so it's just a part of the puzzle. We've essentially built this for people with very little patience, like myself. Now here's the thing. The tech was the easy bit. Well, I say easy. Anyhow, do you know what the hard part was? Getting people to actually change how they work. There are a million ways to skin a cat, and everyone has their way of doing things. And the longer you've been around, the harder it is to basically get someone to change how to do things. You know yourself. I'll give you an example. The last time I was in Bahrain, I went for a coffee with Hassan. He's head of QA at that bank. He's like, Cian, Yanni, do you know why I keep coming back with suggestions? So, so he came back and he was like, because it takes me a week to go through all of our vendors' timesheets. So there's 9 dots, and then there's 4 or 5 other vendors. So he has to go through each one of them individually. So let that sink in. So Hassan, he's head of QA for a bank, has to spend a quarter of his month going through timesheets every month. To me, that's absolutely bonkers. So when we put Knee in place, it was mainly for us, I suppose, us to manage our contractors and my stress. But with Hassan coming back to me and constantly giving me feedback, that was a bit of a light bulb moment. I knew it was making his life easier, so we really actually lent on that. In my head, that's what a good product should do. That's the thing about change. People don't resist it when it saves them time, stress, and hassle. They resist it when it feels like you're making more work for them. We built Knee for agencies, but talking to the bank in Bahrain and a pharma company here in Ireland, we realized that the problem is everywhere. Like any good product, it's grown beyond its first use case into something bigger, something that belongs to anyone who needs clarity instead of chaos. And here's the funny part. We're not even using AI yet. I know. Everything you've seen so far, the time saved, the calmer Mondays, Hassan getting a week back, that's all just from building solid systems. AI will come later, but we wanted to get the fundamentals done first. So here we are now. That's the journey from spreadsheets, chaos, 10 grand mistakes, to building something that actually works. And here's the thing, ship happens, but it isn't really about pushing code, it's about pushing behavior. We didn't just ship a product, we shipped less chaos, we shipped trust in the numbers, and most importantly, we shipped fewer phone calls to the bank saying, "Mas salama, goodbye, 10 grand. Change doesn't stick because you've built the perfect system. Change sticks when people feel it's making their lives easier. And that's what NE is for us. And that's why I hope you take away from today. When ship happens, make sure it's the kind that makes people's lives easier. Happy sailing.
Well done. So before we take our afternoon tea break, there is a little announcement, just a small one. There's a few items actually missing from NE, such as invoices, contract timesheet, contractor details, and they're actually right here in the round room. So if everyone can check under their chairs, and if you manage to find one of these missing documents, you can bring it over to the 9 dots table and you will get a little something special. Okay, so it is your last opportunity as well to enter into making a badge in the raffle, and we will be announcing winners later on. But for now, take 15 minutes, recharge, and then I'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Thanks, guys.